Welcome ladies and gentlemen to a brand new video. Back in the year of October 2019, when Travis Scott was the highest in the room and an illness was beginning to spread in Wuhan, China. At the same time, a press release from Riot Games revealed a trailer for a mysterious new title codenamed in-house as Project F. After an original 3-second sneak peek at the game during a montage of upcoming titles, we eventually later had an extended version from a developer's update video. Displaying Blitzcrank as our hero in a world filled with cherry blossom trees similar to the Spirit Blossom event, this action RPG was in the early stages of development at the same time as Project A, a game we would later know by its official title, Valorant. Almost 4 years later from this initial reveal, information around Project F is still very little, with many unsure if the game even still exists due to the issues the game may have faced around the COVID period and more recently the multiple cuts to Riot Games staff. And with many of the other games shown during this reveal now being available, plus the name Project F now being used as a completely separate tactical FPS game on Steam, it asks the question, have Riot Games scrapped this potentially new take on the League of Legends brand? Well, the answer could be yes and no. Let me explain. As a standalone game, the life of Project F may have been brought to an end, but from it, the studio's work may have now been shifted across to form the basis of the company's upcoming unnamed MMORPG. Whilst many believe that the gameplay for their MMORPG would be much in the style of World of Warcraft or Guild Wars 2, it wouldn't be out of the question that the MMO being developed could rather take more of a Lost Ark approach, with the isometric view from Project F being kept and elements of what was once an ARPG being reworked into that of an MMORPG. Further proof of this happening could be the departure of former head of creative development and Warcraft legend Greg Street, more commonly known as Ghostcrawler. Leaving his post at Riot Games back in March 2023, he cited both personal and professional reasoning for leaving, after originally being one of the most notable members working on the MMO team, due in most part to his massive experience whilst being a part of Blizzard as lead systems designer for World of Warcraft. If you look more towards the professional reasoning behind his departure, creative differences between the studio and Greg's vision may have been the culprit, as it is clear he is still very passionate about the MMO genre. Upon leaving Riot Games, Ghostcrawler immediately set up his own studio. Named Fantastic Pixel Castle, they have already announced the development of their own MMO title, and with Greg as now owner, maybe he can see his vision through unlike at Riot Games. If you need an example of this happening previously, look no further than Rocksteady Studios. Co-founders Jamie Walker and Sefton Hill leaving after 18 years at the company at the end of 2022. The studio's game released in 2024, The Suicide Squad, was a shadow of the company's usual self, switching the game from a solo-driven story to a live service model filled with microtransactions. Suicide Squad's failure in both reviews and sales spoke volumes about how a shareholder can dictate a game to become something which staff disagree on and decide to leave. And no, this isn't me trying to put a downer on the quality of Riot's MMO, but merely showing that sometimes staff and companies are not on the same wavelength when it comes to what they want. So, what would an isometric League MMO play like? Well, if the assets were in fact transferred from Project F, the idea of Robot being a playable race could be highly feasible. Switching out Blitzcrank specifically for a more generic robot character you can design and customize would make a lot of sense due to a large number of robot characters in the universe already. Human would also be pretty standard, supported by the fact of Ezreal standing next to Blitzcrank here in this gameplay. Finally, the artwork of Lulu would imply Yordles as playable, which given the lore of Runeterra, it would be a massive shock if they wasn't included. These three champions specifically could also fill the tank, DPS, healer type roles most commonly found on MMOs, so the choices match up. The fact that many companies have tried and failed in the past to take on Warcraft's monopoly over the traditional third person MMO format really strengthens the idea of an isometric MMO also, with only really Lost Ark having some success in this specific genre. From a marketing perspective, there is an opening for a big game in this niche of the market with only Path of Exile really competing, which itself being more akin to a Diablo based online ARPG rather than classified as an MMORPG. But at this point, all of this is still hypothetical. and we still may see a Warcraft-esque style after all, much like this 3D fan art created by artist Mark Carier, which is a great example to visualise the world in a more traditional MMORPG style. At the end of the day, my main hope is that it is something that can change the MMO landscape and not become something that starts brilliantly and fizzles out like a large portion of brand new MMOs these days. And now with the recent closure of Riot Forge severely reducing the amount of lore content for the world and its characters, it is now massively on the shoulders of the MMO to tell the stories that people want to be told, especially seeing as a large majority of champions, both new and old, are yet to have any stories told about how they actually fit into the world around them. Overall, personally, I am keeping my expectations low until we finally get some concrete details on what the MMO has in store for us. So please Riot, some gameplay footage this year would be brilliant to finally see. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and subscribe if you're new around here. For all things Riot Games, I'm Riot Intel, and I'm out.